Hi everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. Now, when you're going to have a big taco fiesta and you've invited a bunch of friends or family over and you want to do a spectacular dessert, something that is a little showy and something that is kind of participatory, I always recommend making marquesitas. If you haven't heard of marquesitas, let me explain what they are. So if you've traveled anywhere in the Yucatan, you have found the street vendors that are making their great big wafers that they bake to order and then fill with all kinds of different things. The real classic, and this is a sweet savory combination, is the cajeta with Edam cheese, but you can go wild with it. I've got Nutella out here, bananas, you can put all kinds of things on the inside of it. Now, typically the street vendors are working with big presses that are about 14 inches or so in diameter, but I've scaled this back a little bit to make them a little bit easier to do at home using equipment that you can easily find. So you first have to make this sort of thin, simple batter, and that's what I'm going to show you first. I've measured out all the ingredients just to make it go faster, but we're going to start here with water that goes in here and some milk. The recipe, of course, like in all of these videos, will be connected to this video. Now I've got some vegetable oil that's going to go in here. I've got sugar. And everybody always wonders why my sugar is kind of brownish. It's because I use organic sugar because it's got the best flavor. And then I have a cupful of flour that's going to go into this. About a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. So a very easy recipe. You will find online a whole bunch of other kind of recipes for this, but they're definitely not what the street vendors are doing. They're working with a very simple batter like this. Now I'm going to whisk this up, and then it's really best to let this sit for a few minutes for the flour to completely rehydrate. So you see you have a very simple in the sense that there's no eggs in this batter at all. And it's something that you could imagine street vendors would be able to put together with ingredients that they could carry to their little stands. Now, if you have not been to when I first encountered these was 40 years ago, across from the cathedral in Mérida, Yucatan, in the capital city, there was this park and all of the Marquesitas vendors collected there, and people would come from all over town and they would go and order their Marquesitas one at a time, and they would make one that was tailor-made just to your tastes. Then I'd say probably 10 years ago, I started seeing these guys popping up in Mexico City. So maybe you've seen Marquesita vendors in Mexico City. In Oaxaca in the last 4 or 5 years, suddenly there are Marquesitas vendors all there. And they're all doing the same thing. And it's so delicious because it's this wafer that is crackling, shatteringly crisp. Have you ever had those little pirouette cookies and they sort of shatter in your mouth? Well, it's that kind of texture. The Italian pizzella is similar to this, or maybe just imagine a waffle cone that is so utterly thin that it would hardly hold the ice cream. That's what we're going for here. I'm going to come back here in just a couple of minutes, and after this is rehydrated fully, and show you how to use it with the electric. This is like a waffle cone maker, or the one that is very much like what the street vendors use in Mexico, but a smaller, more manageable size that you can do over your stove top here. This one is just hinged as the other one is hinged as well. So I've got them all heating up now, and I'll come back when these are at the right temperature and the batter has fully hydrated. Okay, this looks beautifully silky now. I've got this heated on the electric one. I have it heated to the highest that it can go. That'll be very different than the stovetop one here. And I'm going to give it a light spray of oil on there using a 1/4 cup measure. I'm going to pour that right in the middle here. and then close it. And then I'm going to press it down gently, and you'll hear that little that goes where you'll see some of that batter coming out the side. This is exactly what you experience when you're with the street vendors. I'm going to let it cook now for about 2 minutes, and then I'll look at it and see if it needs a little bit more. I actually think it's best to set a timer for this so that you're not just guessing, because you really want it to be fully cooked before you try to open it up. Okay, we're 2 minutes in now. This is like your first pancake, you know? It's like you're not sure that everything is going to be exactly right, but let's just see what we've got here. Oh, we've got it. That's really beautiful. I'm going to make this with my favorite of the toppings, which is a little drizzle here of cajeta in the middle of it, like that. And a sprinkling of this salty Edam cheese. There's a long story about why it's Edam cheese, but I'm not going to bore you with that right now. And while it's still lying here on the heat, I'm going to use my little spatula. You could use a small knife for this, to go underneath here and start just rolling it up. Okay, so like that, and then over. It's really separated here from it, and then just roll it on up. Now that is a beautiful, sort of slightly smaller than normal marquesita, but I'm going to let this one cool for a minute here while we go over and talk about this one over here. So this is like a stovetop waffle iron. Okay, this is like a maker. I should take this off of here so it doesn't get any more heat on it. And we're going to see how this one goes here. I don't have quite enough heat on this one. So you want to do this over a pretty low heat, because that's aluminum. Well, these are both aluminum, but this one gets hotter way faster. And so I'm going to tell you that give me another minute or so, and I'm going to get this to the right temperature, and then I'll show you what it's like to do it with the stovetop waffle iron. Okay, I think it's the right temperature now. I'm just comparing it to what we have with the electric one, and that one worked really good. I have a rim baking sheet over here so that I can spray oil over this without getting it all over the stove. And then again, our 1/4 cup of the batter, and I'll put that right in the middle, and then give this a close and press it out, and it came out around the outside, which would have gone down in my stove there. And we're going to let this one cook for 2 minutes, but I'm going to flip it about every 15 or 20 seconds just for even heating. This is the moment that we always wonder about. Oh, okay, it came off on that side. It's not quite dark enough yet, so I'm going to just flip this guy and let it go for probably another minute, and then I think we may be where we need to be. Again, it's that first pancake thing here. Let me just see if I can kind of make sure that it's loosened. Yeah, oh good, okay. I think we're in the right track here. I'm going to do my cajeta in the middle. My Edam cheese, sort of spread that out a little bit. But feel free to use whatever kind of toppings would be attractive to you. Start the roll here, like that. This has to be done quickly because it does get crispy really fast. Oh, this one's gorgeous. Ah, look at that. We've got a beautiful marquesita here. I'm going to just transfer that one right over here. And my first one is not as uniformly brown as the second one was, but here's to these delicious marquesitas at your party.